I used to think that making real, lasting friendships as an adult was basically a myth, the kind of thing that disappears right after graduation. And for me, this wasn't just some abstract idea, it was my life. I had just moved to a new city, a place where the skyline felt unfamiliar and my phone felt empty. The silence in my new apartment was just so loud, only broken up by the hum of the fridge and the distant city traffic. It was this constant reminder that a million lives were unfolding all around me, and I wasn't really a part of any of them. I remember thinking that this was probably it. This was what adult life was supposed to be: work, errands, and scrolling through social media, where it seemed like everyone else already had their friends, their inside jokes, and their weekend plans. The loneliness felt like this heavy blanket I'd just have to learn to live with. But I was wrong. It turns out that building a rich, fulfilling social life as an adult isn't impossible. It's not magic, and it's not just for people who are naturally charismatic. It's a skill. And just like any other skill, it's something you can learn and get better at. A few simple, intentional shifts completely changed my social life, and today, I want to walk you through the very steps that took me from feeling profoundly lonely to having the kind of deep, supportive friendships I thought were a thing of the past. Before we get into the practical steps, we need to talk about why this feels so hard in the first place. Why does making friends as an adult feel like such a puzzle? The first thing to remember is that it's likely not your fault. This isn't a you problem, it's more of a design problem of modern life. Think back to school. Friendship was practically built into your schedule. You were surrounded by people your own age and you saw the same faces day after day. Friendship was almost an unavoidable natural outcome of the environment. Then you graduate and that whole social structure just vanishes. You get a job and your coworkers are all at different stages of life. They have partners, families, and mortgages. Free time becomes this precious thing that everyone guards so closely. People's lives are full, their routines are set, and their social circles can feel like they're already complete. You're not on the same schedule anymore. And those casual, repeated, unplanned moments that friendships are built on just sort of evaporate. This can create the perfect conditions for social anxiety to set in. Every little interaction starts to feel like it has high stakes. Asking a coworker to get coffee can feel as stressful as a first date. So we start telling ourselves stories. They're probably too busy. They already have enough friends. What if it's awkward? This inner voice can be paralyzing. You see curated photos on social media that seem to confirm your worst fear. Everyone else has it all figured out. This feeling can magnify our sense of isolation and make us want to retreat even more. It becomes a cycle. The less we try, the lonelier we feel, and the lonelier we feel, the harder it is to try. Simply understanding that this is a common challenge is the first step. It's not you, it's the situation. And the good news is, you can learn to approach it differently. The single biggest change that had to happen for me, before any strategy could work, was a shift in how I thought about friendship. I had to let go of the idea that friendships just happen. As adults, friendships aren't really found, they're built. They require conscious, gentle effort. This means moving from a passive state of hoping someone befriends you, to an active state of being the one to create the opportunity for friendship. A good place to start is with what's known as a growth mindset. Instead of seeing your social abilities as fixed, thinking things like "I'm just awkward" or "I'm not good at this," try to see building friendships as a form of personal growth. Every conversation, even the slightly clumsy ones, is just practice. Every time you gently push past that little voice of fear, you're building social courage. It helps to reframe the goal. The point of an interaction isn't to walk away with a new best friend every single time. The point is just to have a small moment of connection, to practice being open, and to learn something about another person. That's it. And just as important, please be kind to yourself through this process. Making new friends will feel uncomfortable at times, it will be awkward. Not every conversation will lead to a lasting bond. You might face rejection, real or imagined. And that is completely okay. It's normal, so be patient with yourself. If you try to start a conversation and it doesn't go anywhere, try not to spend the rest of the day replaying it in your mind. Just acknowledge it. Well, that was a little awkward. And let it go. It's not a reflection of your worth. It's just one moment in a long, messy, but ultimately rewarding journey. I remember when this really clicked for me. I was in a coffee shop, feeling that familiar loneliness, and I saw someone reading a book by an author I love. The old me would have just sat there, maybe looked over a few times, and then left feeling disappointed for not saying anything. But the new me, thinking about being more intentional, thought, Okay, my only goal right now is to just make a simple comment about that book. I walked over, my heart pounding a little, and said something like, "Sorry to bother you, but that's one of my favorite books." She smiled, we chatted for maybe 2 minutes, and that was it. We didn't exchange numbers or become friends, but I walked out of there feeling like I'd accomplished something huge. I had taken one small, deliberate step. I had been proactive, and that tiny victory was all the proof I needed that I could change things. Okay, so your mindset is starting to shift, and you're ready to be more proactive. The next question is where to put that energy. Just put yourself out there is pretty vague advice. You need a gentle, concrete strategy. The core idea here is simply showing up, which is built on the simple fact that we tend to like people we see regularly. Friendships rarely come from one single meeting, they're nurtured through repeated contact over time. Some experts estimate it can take over 200 hours to turn a stranger into a close friend. So, your goal is to find places where you can see the same people again and again. This is why going to a random bar or a one-off party isn't always the most effective way. You're looking for recurring events. This is where interest-based groups can be so helpful. Think about what you genuinely enjoy or something you've always been curious about. A book club, a casual sports league, a pottery class, a volunteer group, a hiking club, a language class. When you join a group that's focused on a shared interest, you solve a few problems at once. First, you have a built-in reason to talk to people. You can just talk about the thing you're all there to do. Second, you're guaranteed to meet people who have at least one thing in common with you. And third, and this is the most important part, it provides a structure for seeing them again. You'll see them next week, and the week after that. This is how I met one of my closest friends. After that little coffee shop win, I decided to join a local running club. I'm not a great runner. For the first few weeks I was mostly out of breath at the back of the group, but I kept showing up. I'd make small talk with whoever was running near me. This hill is something else, isn't it? After a few weeks of these short, breathless chats, a few of us started getting coffee after our Saturday runs. Those coffees turned into brunch. Brunch turned into, hey, a few of us are going to a movie on Friday, wanna come? Familiarity creates comfort. Seeing the same faces every week lowered the stakes and allowed connections to grow organically, without pressure. Consistency is the key, you just have to keep showing up. Another simple strategy here is to become a regular. Pick a local coffee shop, a dog park, or a library, and try to go there at the same time consistently. You'll start to recognize the staff and the other regulars. These are what sociologists call weak ties, and they're really important for our sense of well-being. A simple hello and a smile to your barista every morning can do wonders for your sense of belonging. These familiar strangers make a new place feel more like home, and sometimes those weak ties can even grow into something more. So you're showing up, you're joining groups, and you're starting to have nice surface-level chats with people. That's a huge step. But how do you cross that bridge from acquaintance to actual friend? This is where a lot of us can get stuck. This next stage asks for a different kind of courage. The courage to be a little more open, and the courage to take the next step. Let's talk about being open, or vulnerable. This doesn't mean sharing your deepest secrets right away. In friendship, it's simply about letting yourself be seen for who you really are. It's about slowly moving conversations past small talk and sharing your authentic self, your interests, your thoughts, your minor struggles, your sense of humor. It's a bit like a dance. You share a little something personal and you see if they do too. For example, instead of just saying your weekend was good, you could share a little more. It was actually really relaxing. I've been a bit stressed with work, so I just spent Saturday reading in the park, and it was just what I needed. That small act of sharing, admitting you were stressed, opens a little door for the other person to share something real too. Being your genuine self is like a magnet for the right kind of people. The second piece of the puzzle is taking the initiative to move the connection to a new setting. A friendship that only exists at your running club is an activity friend. To make it a real friendship, you have to gently invite it outside of that context. This can feel like the scariest step, but it's essential. The key is to make it a low-pressure, specific invitation. Instead of a vague, "We should hang out sometime," try something more concrete. After a good chat at your book club, you could say, "I'm really enjoying this conversation. Hey, I was planning to grab a coffee at that new place down the street, would you like to join?" Or you could follow up later with a text. "It was great chatting with you tonight about that new movie. I'm going to check out that museum exhibit we mentioned this Saturday. Any interest in coming along?" The goal is to transition the friendship to a one-on-one setting, which is where deeper connection is often built. It shows you're interested in them as a person, not just as a member of the group. And during these times, practice being a good listener. Don't just wait for your turn to talk, be curious about them. Ask gentle follow-up questions. People can feel it when you're truly present, and it makes them feel valued. Yes, some people might say no or be busy. It might sting a little. But many people are also hoping for connection, and will be happy you took that first gentle step. So you've done it. You've navigated the initial awkwardness, taken gentle initiative, and started to form a few promising new friendships. The journey doesn't end here. Friendships are like plants, they need ongoing care to thrive. In our busy adult lives, it's easy for a new connection to fade from simple neglect. Nurturing a friendship is just as intentional as starting one. One of the best ways to maintain friendships is to create little rituals. It doesn't have to be anything big, it could be a standing monthly dinner, a weekly phone call, or just being the person who organizes a get-together for a show you all like. These rituals act as anchors for the friendship, making sure you set aside time for each other, even when life gets busy. They build connection right into your schedule, so it happens naturally. It's also helpful to remember that adult friendship often lives in the small in-between moments. A quick text that says, "Hey, this song made me think of you," or "I saw this funny meme and thought you'd like it," is a low-effort, high-impact way to show someone they're on your mind. It keeps the connection warm between longer get-togethers. Finally, a huge part of maintaining friendships is simply being a good friend, and that starts with taking care of yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup. Tending to your own well-being makes you a more present and supportive person to be around. Be the kind of friend you hope to have. Be reliable, listen well, celebrate their joys, and offer support through their struggles. Show up consistently, not just when it's easy. And remember to be flexible. Friendships change. People move through different seasons of life. A friend might get married, have a baby, or move away. The way you connect might shift, and that's okay. The goal isn't for every friendship to stay exactly the same forever. It's to nurture the bonds so they can adapt and last through all the changes life brings. This is a journey, and you don't have to do it alone. The fact that you've watched this far tells me you're ready for a change. So let's make this space a part of that. Feel free to say hello in the comments below and share one place or group you're thinking of checking out. We can exchange ideas and encourage each other. And if you found this helpful but get stuck on the "what do I even say" part of things, you might like my video on how to never run out of things to say, which breaks down conversational skills even more. I'll link it for you on the screen and in the description. I know how hopeless it can feel when you're on the outside looking in. I've been there. I remember that silence and that ache of loneliness so clearly. But I want you to hold on to this one truth. Your situation isn't permanent. What I've shared today isn't a list of tricks, it's about the quiet power of being intentional. It starts with a shift in your mindset, from waiting to creating. It's about the courage to show up, the gentleness to go deeper, and the commitment to nurture what you build. Building friendships is a skill, not a secret, and it's a skill you are more than capable of learning. You are not alone in feeling this way, and you absolutely have the power to change it. Now go and start building.